this despicable conduct. To the people who feel they are entitled to profit off our loss, we urge you, please stop. And for the people who are interested in this case, who feel compelled to comment and discuss, please stick to the truth. It is painful enough for us to just dealing with the reality. Reading the insane conspiracy theories, ugly false rumors, and lies only make it more painful. Finally, to the people who have stood with us, who have supported us and prayed for us and our family. For Shannon and her grandchildren, we can't thank you enough. God bless you all, and thank you for your time.
Hey guys, so I want to make this video because I have a message that has been kind of weighing on me, and it has to do with the Watts case, Chris Watts specifically. And this, like I said, this message is more in response to Armchair Detective and his recent 1 week, YouTube jail, and then having to do with the case. And so, but he just is going on and on and on about he's the one that, brought all the truths to light, that he was the one that saw the shadows in the neighbor surveillance, and coming up with the theory that the girls were still alive when Chris left the house on August 13th, 2018. And with his second confession, with Chris's second confession in February of this year, he confessed to, the horrific annihilation of his family, taking that unfair and unjust blame off of Shanann. And the thing is that Chris is seemingly more and more, to me, as a bona fide psychopath. And these are some of the reasons why. When you see his behaviors over the course of his life that we know of, and with the first police interrogation, like August 15th, 2018, where they were just trying, he wasn't budging, he wasn't giving up any information. And Tammy, one of the CPI agents, said, well, maybe, you were covering up for Shanann. And you could see the wheels turning in his head. And he was asking specific questions because they kind of brought up some cases where that kind of happened. And then in the February 2nd confession, he admits to them that it was because Tammy brought that up that he took that and ran with it. And, knowing what he's talked about when he was in elementary school, and the teacher wanted them to write about the teacher wanted them to write about what they did with their family that was really fun over the summer. And Chris wrote a paper about going to China, and the teacher was convinced, and he never went. And so, to me, and then of course, Armchair Detective coming up with the conspiracy theory that the girls are still alive. And Chris knows about what's going on. He has people giving him information all the time. Every 2 weeks or so, he's visited by Anna, who is ministering to him. And very well that she's exchanging information with him about what's going on in social media, what's being said about the case, about him. And that would probably have been brought up, what Armchair Detective discovered with the shadows, right? And so that was kind of sensational, and on the Facebook groups and all of his lives, armchairs lives, and other people were joining that bandwagon. And it's very plausible to think that Chris heard about that and was like, that sounds interesting. And then thus him confessing to the girl still being alive, supposedly. I doubt it. I believe everything happened at the house. But to me, that shows that Chris is more of a psychopath, because he doesn't have real, raw, true emotions. Happy, sad, and he has to rely on other people to feed him the narratives, feed him that, so he's able to come up with emotional stories, like emotional stories or anything for Chris. He does it, and basically he takes what he believes people want to hear, and he takes whatever information that they can give him to get whatever guidance they're giving him, like Tammy or like the teacher. And he's like, okay, so, and he builds his story up, right? Because it seems to me that he's not really experiencing these emotions or these things in a true, empathetic, or raw way in any way, shape, or form. And so, and just like kind of with even Nicole Kessinger, you know, her kind of the way she was talking about the affair, and how, you know, how the video that she did at the sand dunes, and just he was kind of becoming a chameleon and going along with what he felt was appropriate by kind of mimicking. And so, you know, it is not a stretch to believe that he got wind of Armchair Detective's big theory and, you know, this big truth. And again, it was pretty sensational. And Chris took it, and just like with the teacher asking, what did you do fun with your family? You know, Tammy and Coder came to him and said, let's really talk about this. Tell us what really happened. And he's like, okay. And then taking what he's heard, Armchair, all these theories, and he's like, okay, here's what happened. Because if you really, I've listened to the 5-hour interview from February of this year, there is no emotions as he talks. And it's just almost like, again, he has this script in his head, and he just says things that he thinks people want to hear, but he has no true emotional attachment to anything. And it's pretty, I don't know what the word is, like just scary and just almost like just sobering. But yeah, I just thought that it was important to kind of talk about this, because there has been that debate. Is he a psychopath? Is he what? What is he? And I really see more and more the psychopathy about Chris coming out and coming to light. So that's why, like I said, I really feel like, to me, more signs are pointing to Chris Watts being a psychopath, maybe a more mild form of it, but there's just been a lot of signs I picked up on, and that's the thing. That's why I'm so interested in true crime, and many others are. We're interested in the psychological aspect of it, trying to understand these people that commit these horrific crimes, family annihilation, mass murder shootings, just horrible things, and how they're capable of doing that. Because any person like myself would not be capable of such a thing, and we don't understand. The only way to understand is to study these cases and these murders and and just kind of collect the data and try to piece together why, they could be capable of such horrendous, tragic acts against other people. And so yes. So to sum this video up, I do believe that Armchair Detective needs to kind of take a step back and really see that it is very possible that his Armchair's theory about the shadows was so sensational that Chris Watts took it and thought that's what that's what Tammy and Coder wanted to hear when they came, because otherwise he wouldn't know what to say. Because when Tammy and Coder, the CBI agents, kind of sprang a visit on Chris at the Wisconsin prison he's staying at now in February of 2019, this year, they wanted to allow him to really explain. And they were like, tell us what really happened. We want to know. And he felt like, well, I've been hearing about this one and I think that's what they want to hear. So I'm going to tell them this because this is what they want to hear. And so, yeah, like I said, most likely it's just another thing that Chris Watts heard that he believed people wanted to hear, and because it was sensationalized. It truly seems like he relies heavily on the input of anyone and everyone around him, that he's ever been in a situation that he needed to retell anything, because like I said, organically these emotions do not come to him. He relies on what other people tell him and guide him in a way, and he concocts the story of what he believes they want to hear, and he mimics, and it's strange and unsettling. But like I said, to me, it seems like it's not a stretch that Chris Watts heard about the theories of Armchair Detective, and when Tammy and Coder came, he told them what he told the CBI agents February, the second interview. He told them what he believed they and a lot of people wanted to hear, but it came from an emotionalist place. So yes, so those are my thoughts, guys. So yes, have a great day. Sending lots of loves, virtual hugs, and positive energy. And I will talk to you soon. I love you all, Lemonheads. Bye.